Hello, my name is Adrian Lozano. I'm originally from Mexico. I've been in the VFX industry for a little bit more than 12 years, and my area of focus has been the Rotoscoping department. During my VFX journey, I worked with companies like Adrian Technologies, Digital Domain, and Industrial Light and Magic. Digital Domain has been the studio for I did most of my journey, from a junior to senior and then to a lead. I worked on several shows from feature to episodics. Some of my credits include Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, Avatar Fire Mash, Tron Ares, Beauty and the Beast, Blue Beetle, Stranger Things, Miss Marvel, among many others. I'm currently working as a Rotoscoping lead. As a lead, my work is mainly focused on helping shots get prepared properly for compositing, which includes roto, paint, cleanup, and making sure the work is technically solid and visually clean. This role is not only doing shots, I also help organize the team, doing time beats, reviewing work, giving notes, writing tasks, and communicating with supervisors, making sure their artists understand what each shot needs. A big part of this job is making sure that the work is delivered on time while still keeping the quality high. I mainly use Nuke, Mocha, and Silhouette. Nuke has been the main program that I have used for most of my career. At the start of my career, I started with Fusion, which is another node-based program, so the transition to Nuke was quite seamless. Nuke connects well with the compositing pipeline, gives you a lot of control on every step of your work, and you can build workflows that are flexible and procedural. It is also great for reviewing work, checking channels, comparing frames, and making sure that the work is working and ready for compositing. Another thing that I like is the option to create your own tools, make integrations with other VFX apps like Silhouette, Mocha, and Shuttering, and make automations or gizmos. Mocha is very useful for plane tracking. For roto and paint, a good track can save a lot of time, especially when you are dealing with surfaces, screens, walls, clothing, or anything with perspective movements. Silhouette is a tool that I didn't use too much at the start of my company's Silhouette program. It's a very artist-friendly and intuitive. The roto, paint, and tracking tools are very strong and fast. Silhouette is a program of choice for rotoscoping in many studios, and I agree with it. With a proper pipeline integration, it is quite a powerhouse. Important thing is knowing when to use each of two. Sometimes Nuke is better, sometimes Silhouette is faster, or sometimes Mocha gives you the track that you need to make everything work. As a lead, most of the times you are on the managing side, coordinating with compositing and production the needs of the shot. During that time, Madlookz shots become shot read, which is a shot managing tool. In there we can create tasks for each shot, feed the requirements for comp, how much time it will take, also known as bidding, and from there coordinate with production how much of the workloads go to outsource and how much stays in-house, in the case that there is an in-house team. Whenever we receive work back from the artist or outsource, then it is our responsibility to do quality check or QC. It's a process we do before the composite can use the renders or the product that we receive. To do a QC, I use Nuke. This allows me to check the image, the original resolutions, check anomalies of the standard text specs, and using Nuke tools to see any discrepancies on the work. If the work fails, then it gets kicked back in ShotGrid with an annotation which the artist can see, or in the case the if it's approved, then we mark as approved, send an annotation to the artist, and mark the version as complete, so the compositor can see that the approved version is able to be worked on. Well, AI. VFX have been using AI for quite some time already in the form of machine learning. Movies like Avengers, Avatar series, The Irishman are some of the productions that come to mind that have used machine learning to help achieve the great performances and visual effects we're so amazed to see. For me, AI and automations are becoming tools that can help speed up repetitive parts of the work. Tasks like mark removal, scene removal, beauty work, wire removal are some examples that come to mind. But the artist still needs to make the final creative and technical decisions. In Rotoscoping, there is a lot of judgment involved. You need to understand the edges, motion blur, defocus, grain, lighting, continuity, and what the compositor needs. AI can give you a good starting point and sometimes a good final product, but it still needs an experienced eye to know whether it works or not. At the moment, I feel that tools don't produce a perfect output in complex tasks, or tasks with a lot of fine hair. AI tool can take you up to 70 or 80% of the task completions, which make extra fixes from the artist necessary. For a simple task where there is not a lot of movement, it works pretty well. The only bad part that I feel is that when you have to deal with fine hair, I've seen a lot of mixed results. At one point or another, you can see the kitten of the area of the mat, and the results are either you need more dataset entries, more training, or you end up doing rotoscoping for dissection. Currently, we have several AI tools that come from VFX programs like Nuke, Mocha, and Silhouette. All of these solutions only produce max rotoscoping, and they are based on the dataset you feed them, which means that if there is not enough entries in your dataset, then the tool won't know what to do in certain part of the shot. This can lead to the artist to either add more entries and retrain the tool, or fix the missing part of the mat manually with their own rotos plans. The good part of this AI is that it speeds our work immensely. Tasks that normally will take you several days can be reduced to a fraction of the time. Once you create a trained model that works pretty well, then you can use that same model to similar shots, and the inference can recognize what you are working on and then apply the math perfectly well, or very close. And it can also be applied on paint when you are training for paint. If something doesn't work, then we can retrain the model with the extra dataset and using the current model that is working as a base point. This will reduce the training time significantly. One of the advantages that I'd like to see more is supply manipulation through AI. Nuke has been working on that in the latest version with the introduction of Smart Roto, and I've seen being worked on other third-party companies like Toka. It's going to be very interesting when these tools can work on complex shots and do fine hair detail as well. This makes it very exciting. As a lead, automations get consistency. For example, scripts, templates, or tools inside Nuke can help reduce repetitive setup time, so artists can focus more on the quality of the shot. I think the future artists need to be comfortable working with AI and automation. We also need the strong fundamentals. I'll always like problem solving, so for me automation is exciting as something I push a lot. I use Python and tool creation whenever I can, because sometimes a small tool can save the team a lot of time. For this question, I want to be focusing on the Rotoscoping side. and it's something that I noticed not only on juniors, but also in mid and senior artists. So it's a good way to reinforce how to get better for all of them. Let's start with the technical side. For rotoscoping, I noticed some of the mistakes like shape swapping. Shape swapping is changing the spline shapes as the movement goes through frames or moving the older spline shapes out of frame. This causes problems when the compositor uses motion blur and causes fading artifacts from shapes that is moving out of frame. I would recommend you try to use the shape as much as you can, and then turn off the opacity when it's not needed. Another mistake that I noticed in rotoscoping is overpopulating a rotonote. I've seen rotonotes where they're rotoscoping standard hair, clothes, or small pieces, and they end up being 500 or even 1,000 shapes in one node. This tends to cause problems when they're trying to import or work with the rotonotes. For that, I would recommend that you do stacking of the nodes. Since there is no end how many nodes you can use, I recommend you separate the shapes in each node. A limit of 100 or 150 shapes per node, it will work better than just stacking all the shapes into one rotonode. That way you don't overload the nodes. In all the studios, I know there is normally general tech specs documentation for how you work the task. That means it can include from naming conventions for each shape, how the renders are supposed to be named, how many renders are supposed to be delivered, how to set up the rotonodes, motion blur, feathering, the layers required, how to set templates, how to work them, checking you're working on the correct frame of the shot. I've seen many scripts where they do a great job, but they have to be kicked back because they didn't follow the tech specs and they didn't check before submitting. So please, I recommend you to follow the tech specs and be very thorough about it. Make it like your first thing to do when you are setting up your shot. One of the main things, and this is a very strong one, is that you don't do a final check of your work. A good technique to do a final check is doing an stabilization check. That means you create a tracker and then set it up to stabilize, and then you connect it at the end of your work or even at your renders. That way you can see all the popping or the slidings and every error that you might have, and it will give you time to fix it. For paint, well, most of the errors can be noticed with doing also the stabilization check. I have seen work where everything looks fine in the normal playback, thinking the camera will have the problems. Well, once you add the stabilization track and see through it, you start seeing all the problems: patch sliding, frame by frame paint jittering, or frame not positioning accordingly. So I also recommend doing this check to see all the errors you might find. If you can see it, then you can certainly expect that I, as a lead, will see them. In general, communication. Being a junior in a VFX company can feel overwhelming sometimes, and some of them tend not to talk when they are stuck on the shot. Or if something isn't clear, or you have a problem with your shot, like the deadline or the difficulty, be sure to talk to your shot leads, coordinator, or supervisors. They are there to help you, and they will help you to complete your shot, and they will listen to you. So there is no reason to be afraid. You also have your teammates, which they will be more than happy to share their techniques of how to solve the problems. Talk with them, and share so they can share your techniques and they will make the team grow stronger. Communication is very important. If something is unclear, it is better to ask early than spending work hours going in the wrong direction. A good junior artist is not someone who knows everything, it's someone who listens, learns, communicates, and improves quickly. I think the most important skill is still having a good eye. Technology changes, software changes, and now AI is becoming part of the workflow. But the artist still needs to know what looks real and what doesn't. For Rotopaint specifically, you need the strong fundamentals: edge quality, motion blur, defocus, tracking, grain, color, continuity, and understanding of 3D space and projections. You also need good problem-solving skills, because every shot is different. Communication is also huge. VFX is a very collaborative industry. You work with supervisors, production, compositing, other departments, other artists. Being clear, organized, and reliable makes a big difference. And today, I think artists should be open to technical learning. You don't need to be a full programmer, but understanding basic scripting, automation, pipeline tools, and AI workflows can make you much more valuable. I believe the best artists today are not only artistic or even technical, they are a mix of both. My advice for someone trying to start in the VFX industry today would be learn the fundamentals of your craft first. Don't depend only on tools or plugins or AI. Understand why something works instead of just guessing which operation works better. Learn what makes a good matte, what makes a paint feel invisible, how grain works, how blur works, how a distorted plate is different from understood plates, how it affects your work, and how to check your work properly. I will also tell them to be patient. VFX can be difficult, and at the beginning it can feel very overwhelming. But every shot teaches you something. The artists who grow fastest are usually the ones who are open to feedback and don't take the notes personally. Be reliable. Deliver what you said you will deliver. Communicate when you are stuck, and show that the people can trust with you with a shot. Talent is important, but attitude and consistency are just as important. VFX is a team effort. The goal is not to show your work. The goal is for the audience to never notice your work was there. At the end of the day, VFX is about solving visual problems. The tools are always changing, and now AI is becoming part of the conversation, but the fundamentals are still the same. Good eye, good communication, good problem solving, and a strong attention to detail. That what makes the work invisible and believable.